Coming weekend. I'll have that active forecast for you coming up.
All right, Jamie, thank you. Let's get to our top headlines tonight. These stories are real new now. Stocks plummet on Wall Street with the Dow suffering its worst day since 2008. Why? It was more than just coronavirus fears that triggered the sell-off.
The Trump administration is cracking down on televangelist Jim Bakker for selling what they say is a fake remedy for the coronavirus. What product the administration says could pose a serious health risk.
And voters in the Show Me State are just hours away from heading to the polls. We have the latest on tomorrow's presidential preference primary. Ozarks Fox News at 9 starts right now.
Real, new, now. This is Ozarks Fox News at 9.
Well, thanks for joining us tonight. We begin our newscast with ongoing coverage of the spread of COVID-19.
Tonight, we're focusing on how the virus is affecting life here in the Ozarks. But first, another day of losses on Wall Street. Stocks plunged 7% today. The drop even triggered a halt in trading for 15 minutes.
Investors seem uncertain about the virus, but if you're wondering about your long-term investments or retirement savings, some analysts say people are just panicking.
We will overcome this. When we have a vaccine, it'll be better. Maybe during warmer weather, it'll be better. We're just seeing an overreaction in the market.
Also today, the sell-off of stocks comes during a dispute among oil-producing countries over how much to cut production. Russia has refused to cut production on crude oil, while Saudi Arabia has increased its output. Oil prices dropping more than 20%, making the biggest plunge since the end of the Gulf War.
Well, if you're planning on traveling to Rome or other parts of Italy soon, you may have to put those plans on hold. The entire country is on lockdown right now. With more than 450 deaths and more than 9,000 cases of the novel coronavirus so far, Italy's prime minister says he wants to protect his people, going as far as banning some public events. The lockdown marks one of the toughest responses implemented outside of mainland China to get this epidemic under control.
Well, back in the U.S., at least 21 people on board a cruise ship docked in Oakland have tested positive for COVID-19, and 4 Congress members are now in self-quarantine. Here in Greene County, no cases of the virus have been reported so far.
But local hospitals are putting restrictions in place. Many of these are also implemented during a tough flu season. Children who are younger than 12 are not allowed to visit hospitals or care facilities unless they are seeking treatment. Officials say anyone who is feeling sick should just stay away from the hospital. They're also encouraging everyone to consider virtual doctor visits or telemedicine.
We spoke with Clay Goddard, the health department director, and he explained he has a duty to warn the public, and that includes planning for the worst and hoping for the best.
I'm hopeful that it doesn't pan out and that we can all see those folks at that public health department overreacted. That would be a best case scenario for me. But I'm always going to work off of the assumptions that we're going to be dealing with serious outbreak, and that we're going to have to work as a community strategically to address that.
Those who are considered high risk should avoid being around large crowds. High risk includes those 60 or older and anyone with chronic medical conditions like heart disease, diabetes, or cancer.
We have a follow-up story tonight for you at 9. 2 federal agencies are now issuing warnings to a Branson area TV evangelist. Last month, Jim Bakker had a guest on his online show who claimed a product could cure strands of the coronavirus. Fast forward to this week, both the Food and Drug Administration and the Federal Trade Commission want Bakker to remove Silver Sol from his website. Health officials say the drug cannot mitigate, prevent, treat, or cure COVID-19. The USDA believes the claims from Silver Sol are misleading during the worldwide crisis. As of right now, the product is still up on Bakker's website.
In political coverage at 9.
If we could give tax breaks to billionaires, if 12 years ago we could bail out the crooks on Wall Street, we can cancel all student debt in America.
Senator Bernie Sanders makes a campaign stop in St. Louis today. It's ahead of tomorrow's presidential primary. Sanders argued his campaign is energized and would bring new voters to the polls if he is the Democratic nominee. Critics have questioned whether Sanders would hurt down-ballot Democrats running in more conservative districts. And more moderate candidates like Joe Biden also trying to win Missouri tomorrow. The former vice president visited Kansas City over the weekend.
For more on how the primary works that people will be voting in tomorrow, our Madison Heaver joins us in the studio tonight. Madison, is this like any other election people will take part in?
No, John. Actually, voters will have to choose a candidate on one ballot: Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, Green, and Constitution. When you vote tomorrow, Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft says your vote lets the parties know who you'd like to be president of the United States, but it isn't a direct vote for a candidate. Then the respective parties will hold a caucus to determine who will go to the National Convention for a vote for that candidate. We talked with Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft. His office is responsible for elections and education for elections. He says the important thing to remember before voting tomorrow is to know the candidates and what they stand for.
The most important thing is just because it's online doesn't mean it's true. And then secondly, in Missouri, regardless of what you've heard, if you're registered, you will be allowed to vote and your vote will count. So you have no excuse. Get out and vote.
If you're concerned about the spread of coronavirus or COVID-19 while voting, the Greene County Clerk's Office is taking some precautions to help keep you safe. There will be antiseptic and disinfectant wipes for your hands and voting equipment. There will be an increase in the number of screen wipes, and there will also be gloves for voters to use when operating touchscreen equipment. You're also encouraged to wash your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds before and after you vote. And if you're not in Greene County, it's encouraged that you bring your own voting materials as well as hand sanitizer.
All right, some great tips. Thank you, Madison. In more local news tonight, Springfield city leaders are trying to help homeowners after a local business went bankrupt.
Well, it's been an ongoing problem for years. The owner of 417 Rentals managed hundreds of properties across town, and after he couldn't pay millions of dollars of debt off, many of those homes were auctioned off.
Now, Springfield wants to build more affordable housing. The goal is to give out $1 million of government grants for developers to build cheaper homes, more specifically on the northwest side of town along the Grant Avenue corridor. That's where up to 70% of those 417 rental homes were located.
That area was identified because it's the lowest income area of town typically. It also has the oldest housing stock that needs most attention. Some of the other community needs that they have there are things like vacant houses, and by stabilizing that neighborhood with good housing and folks living there, it can help with that.
The changes come after residents were surveyed and affordable housing was a priority for them. City Council is asking for your feedback once again at its next meeting, which is on March 23rd.
Well, and speaking of City Council, a few plans were approved tonight. A new ordinance will permanently allow alcohol at 12 public events a year, like Arts Fest and the Route 66 Festival. The changes eliminates the need to adopt a new ordinance every year. Plus, over $500,000 will be used to improve stormwater drains at Linden and Latoka. That's a neighborhood in southwest Springfield, south of Sunshine and 65. And finally, council approved a pay increase for firefighters. It ranges from 2.25% for basic fire crews to 5% for captains.
We're moving on to weather now. Let's check in with Jamie at the Weather Lab. Jamie, do we have more rain on the way tonight?
Well, Jennifer, right now, Springfield, we're done with the rain. Areas to our east, areas like Rolla, maybe down through West Plains, you still got a round of showers, which is going to move through. That's the cold front. That's going to lead to a colder start to our Tuesday, but the afternoon looks nice. Problem is, we're now in an active pattern with additional episodes of stormy weather ahead right through this upcoming weekend. I'll have details in your forecast next.
You're watching Ozarks Fox